What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Daily Dose of Renewables, an audio version of just some of the stories you can read in the daily Renewable Energy Smart Brief newsletter. I'm your host, Sean McMahon, and here's just a few of the stories we're tracking today, July 17th, 2025. The U.S. Interior Department has issued an order requiring that all decisions related to wind and solar projects must undergo a multi-layer political review process. The order applies to more than 68 types of activities, including basic project determinations and compliance with federal laws. And while it's no surprise that such an order would apply to projects on public lands, it also applies to projects on private lands. That little nugget might come as a surprise to clean energy developers, because many big tech firms have plans to co-locate power generation with all the big AI data centers that are in the pipeline. And while most of the big tech CEOs have played their political cards right with the Trump administration so far, if one of those CEOs has a falling out with the president, if just one of those CEOs has a falling out with the president, their company might see all the energy projects they have planned suddenly come to a bureaucratic halt. Let's just say it could get very interesting to see how this order from the Interior Department works its way through the real world. If you're listening to this podcast, then go ahead and give a listen to the most recent episode of Bloomberg's Zero podcast. Former director of the Loan Programs Office, Jigar Shah, weighed in with his views on what the Big Beautiful Act means for the future of clean energy. Shah says the industry is definitely not dead in the water, and in fact, Shah discusses how this new war on clean energy looks a lot like the one that the fracking industry faced and won in the early 2000s. While President Trump is doubling down on drill baby drill, Canada is going in a different direction with Prime Minister Mark Carney's Build Baby Build agenda. And it turns out that's great news for solar companies. SolarBank, which is active in the US and Canada, plans to make the most of recent policy shifts by accelerating the development of projects in New York while shifting some of its attention to Ontario and Nova Scotia. As the US minimizes support for solar, it looks like new doors are opening up across the northern border. If you've spent part of the last few weeks ducking heat waves like I have, it turns out you might have virtual power plants to thank for keeping you cool. Blackouts might have appeared to be lurking behind every corner when the eastern United States was experiencing record heat waves a few weeks ago, but VPPs helped avert an energy crisis. Sunrun, Energy Hub, Uplight, and other operators dispatched significant power from distributed energy resources, helping to balance the grid in the PJM interconnection system. Amazon's carbon emissions increased 6% in 2024, marking the first increase in 3 years, according to the company's annual sustainability report. Not surprisingly, Amazon attributed the uptick to a rise in data center development. And finally, the Trump administration and Republicans' anti-clean energy sentiments have driven the cancellation of $15.5 billion in projects and the loss of 12,000 jobs through the end of May, according to E2. The vast majority of those losses, $9 billion in investment and 10,000 jobs, were in Republican-controlled districts, leaving many to wonder why Republican lawmakers would betray their constituents' economic interests. Well, the reason appears to be pure politics. Many of those lawmakers voted in favor of the Big Beautiful Act due to pressure from President Trump and concerns about primary challenges. I don't know about you, but I'm not sure it was the lawmakers who voted against their constituents' own economic interests. After all, those constituents voted for those lawmakers and put them into power. Meanwhile, President Trump promised over and over again on the campaign trail that he was going to gut the Inflation Reduction Act and kill all those projects. And what did he do when he returned to the White House? He kept that promise. So perhaps it was the constituents themselves who voted against their own economic interests. Well, that's our show for now. And just a reminder that this roundup of stories is just a sampling of what you'll read in today's Renewable Energy Smart Brief. To sign up for that newsletter, click on the link in today's show notes, or head on over to smartbrief.com and sign up for the Renewable Energy Smart Brief. If you like this podcast, please share it with your friends and colleagues, and be sure to follow us on Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. The Renewable Energy Smart Pod is a production of Smart Brief, a future company.